Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm Bel Bachmann. You can call me Bel. Kimberly's asked me to do a little presentation with presenting my background and my reasons for being here and address the idea of volunteerism. I have been with the project for 2 years now, auditing last year's field school and again this year. I do have a great love of old ships, old canal lore, and that's my area of research, basically. I hope that if you have any questions about anything I say or present here, that you feel free to contact me. I've enclosed my email, phone number, everything you need at the end. And in the meantime, here's Bel in a nutshell.
I'm local. I came from Merritton. Merritton was part of St. Catharines since 1961, but Merrittonians don't really believe that. It's a working class community, and in most small communities there's a good side of the track and the wrong side of the track. In Merritton, that's the canal, and I lived on the wrong side of the canal, up on the hill, which was a great place. It was paradise. My parents were from Merritton, too. They grew up there in the 1920s. On one side was a long line of factories, paper mills mostly, but also the old rubber mill. These pictures were taken actually from the roof of the old rubber mill. And on one side, you can see the town with the railroad tracks and all of the storage buildings, the factories. On the other side, you can see the old turning basin at the second canal. And that was my playground as a child. And here's my neighborhood. The greenhouse is where I grew up, and I live there now. I moved back into the old family home. The yellow stars are where my grandparents lived. My English grandparents, my paternal grandparents, lived in the yellow star to the left, and the one to the right is my Scottish grandparents, my mother's people, who lived in the old lock tender's house. My mother was born there. I'm very curious, and my work history shows that, I think. I changed jobs, changed careers every 10 years or so, just to keep things interesting. But I did discover a love and a knack for teaching, and that's where I finally settled. I did that for night school, special interest courses at the school boards, and finally settled in at the museum, which was a perfect fit. Currently, I'm involved in a number of things. The Friends of the Chickluna Shipyard being one of the most important. I also manage a couple of online memory-type groups. One is Merritton Memories for the community. Another is the Friends of the Welland Canals. I write a little bit for a couple of organizations I'm involved with. One of those is Merritton Matters, the quarterly newsletter in the community. And the other one is an authors group, which I'm involved with, the Dorothy Dunnett Society, and I write for them. My last main project was the Welland Ship Canal Fallen Workers Memorial, and I did a number of speaking engagements for them, as well as investigating the medical services associated with the workers in the 1920s and 30s. Since retirement, I take a lot of online courses. I love it. And they vary from medieval times to indigenous studies, and recently more into the archaeological line, just so that I can understand better what we're doing at the Chickluna Project. My favorite thing is to spend time with my grandkids. They're 3 redheads, and they're great. I read a lot. I spend a lot of time tracking the family tree. There are still some links I haven't sorted out yet. I spend a lot of time doing things with my hands. I like to look at rocks. I like to investigate how old domestic tools work. I like to hike. particularly in Carolinian Forest. I do a lot of researching and a lot of storytelling. And I used to reenact, not so much more anymore, getting too old for sleeping on the ground. But last and not certainly least, I'm a boat nerd. And I'm actually a gongoozler, if you want to look that one up. I've been trailing Kimberly around for a number of years now because she taunted me with the dream of a shipyard dig, and I've been waiting anxiously for it for nearly 20 years now. I discovered I'm not all that good with digging anymore. 70-year-old knees won't get me anywhere. But I've been doing a lot of research and collating some of the research. Recently, I've been focusing more on the educational programming. But educational programming right now is sort of up in the air until we get it sorted through the pandemic. So that's sort of suspended at the moment. Just a quick word about volunteers before I go. Without enthusiastic volunteers who are willing to donate free time to us, projects like the Chicluna Shipyard would not be able to function at all. Volunteers are critical. And the interesting thing is that we all benefit from volunteers. The volunteer benefits gives you a sense of satisfaction, you learn some new skills, and it gives you a real sense of belonging. But it also gives value, work capacity to the organizations, to the businesses involved. It builds up a talent pool. It builds up networking. It can build a community. It can have social impact. And it can educate. All of those things.
Be it icebreaker or scow or captured German submarine, the Royal Yacht Britannia with all her lights agleam. Be it heading down to dry dock for a scrape, a paint, a mend, or to the graveyard at Ramey's Bend. The Welland takes a young lad down to the sea in ships, past cities with their buildings taller than Niagara's cliffs, through the Thousand Islands where bold pirates once made free, past belugas of the Saguenay out to the open sea. Be it pilot, boat, or dredge, be it new or older hulk, be it tanker or a tug, cargo and barrel or in bulk, be it diesel, sail, or tow rope that moves her up the stream, it's still the stuff of dreams.